Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Afiqah Aina Binti Muhamad Muzammil. So I will continue our presentation with company background and layout. So basically, this company is founded by Muhammad Solehuddin bin Remeli in 2018, and this is a food and beverages company that supply Guava jam product to the market and consumer. Introduce our HACCP team that started by Muhammad Salahuddin Ramli as our CEO, followed by QA Atiqah Binti Dzafarullah, also a leader and responsible for HACCP, and followed by manager by department, which is purchasing manager Hazira to Najiha, administration manager Afiqah Aina, operation manager Ahmad Syazani, and maintenance manager Syazani Muhammad Faiz. So this is the layout of our company. This layout is inspired by our CEO, Mr. Salahuddin, to minimize the hazard and contamination that may contain in our guava jam product.
Okay, we proceed to our product description, which is our product name is Guava Jam. Brand we use Guava. Okay, process type: receiving, washing, boiling, peeling, cutting, blending, mixing, bottling, cooling, and storing. Okay. Our important product characteristic for physical look is transparent bottle, round bottle, size and size based on appendix. You can see at the picture at the slide. And then the ingredient we use is fresh guava, sugar, pickline, lime, and water. Okay, our packaging materials in 1 ounce clear glass jar, white metal, plastisol line cap, carton box, and shrink wrap. Okay, we have sensitive ingredient which is pectin, and required material is NIL. Okay, our storage condition is normal room temperature, cool and dry and away from direct water exposed. Our system, primary packaging in glass jar round bottle, secondary packaging in carton box, and tertiary packaging in shrink wrap. And then the packaging size, you guys can refer at the slide. And then shelf life, our guava jam can long until 24 months. Our target customer is adult and kids, except for those allergic to bacon. We will send our product at the local, which is at Malaysia. For overseas, we sell at the Singapore, Brunei, and Indonesia. Okay, for our labeling instruction for customer, don't let the bottle open for a long time and get away from the water exposed. Our possible mishandling has two, which is one, mishandling during transportation, which is for staking. Number two, mishandling by customer, which is customer put that things in a wet condition without close the bottle, and left open for a long time before consumption. Okay, and our distribution is product in carton loaded in lorry or container.
Next, we go to the process flow of our company in order to producing fresh guava jam. The first process is receiving from farm. The fresh guava fruit were freshly received from farm that had been transported by a lorry in a big amount. Then, the container full of fresh guava fruit be moved to washing site in our facility. Processing number 2 are washing. The fresh guava fruit were washed each by our staff in order to remove the dirt and any physical soil. Processing number 3 are peeling and cutting. The fresh guava fruit start to be peeled and cut into suitable shape, and each fresh guava seeds and skin are removed in order to blend the fruit thoroughly. Processing number 4, blending. After the fresh guava that had been cut and peeled as it should, the cut of the guava pieces will be blended along with sugar liquid in a huge fast blender container. And then go to the processing number 5, mixing. After get the smooth fresh guava texture, it will be mixed with all of the other jam substance in a boiling jar, which will consist small amount of lime juice as edible acid citric, pectin powder as thickening agent, and also a small amount of water. After all ingredients were mixed, it will be stirred slowly in the boiling jar. Then, Processing number 6, which is boiling. The ingredients all together will be boiled all together, and then going to processing number 7, which is bottling. After boiling process, the fresh guava jam packed into the bottle product that be equipped with product description that volume 1 ounce clear jar, and the bottle container will kept with white metal plastisol line cap. Come in strong glass that can stand any leakage and durable long. And moving to the next processing, which is cooling. The jam settled packed into the bottle product. The guava jam bottle will be cooled in a clean and suitable chiller that its temperature around 0 Celsius to -5 Celsius. This also will help to maintain the product freshness. And the final processing step are storing. After done cooling the guava jam in the suitable temperature, the jam stored in a room temperature storage before distribute to the market. The bottle jam packed in a carton box and arranged accordingly on a parallel rack in order to not touching the floor to avoid cross contamination.
Sheet 1A for raw material. First, fresh guava fruit. The hazard here is biological hazard. Pathogenic bacteria such as Salmonella, Bacillus cereus, E. coli, and non-spore-forming organism bacteria such as Staphylococcus aureus and Vibrio. The inclusion is improper handling during receiving from supplier and mixing between damaged and fresh guava fruit during receiving. Based on severity and likelihood, we can conclude that this is a significant hazard. How we control measure by establish SOP that ensure all employees practice the good hygiene and GMP program. Based on CCP, this is sensitive raw material. Second hazard is physical. Stone wood insect, which is small organism that can seen through naked eye. The inclusion, most of physical hazard that accidentally mix with the fruit during harvesting process. Then the metric value is 3, so this is a significant hazard. How we control measure by metal and object detecting process step designed to eliminate wood and stone contamination. Based on CCP, this is sensitive raw material. Second is edible citric acid, lime. This raw material have biological hazard, which is pathogenic bacteria such as Salmonella, E. coli, and Staphylococcus aureus. The inclusion, lime not cleaned thoroughly before use it, which is stored in or company storage. The severity number is 2 and likelihood is 3, so the metric value is 6, so it is significant hazard. Based on the CCP, this raw material is sensitive. We move to raw material number 3 and number 4, which is sugar and pepsin. The result is the same, the severity and likelihood is the same because they got the higher metric value, which is 25, and it is not significant hazard. So these two items is not a sensitive raw material. Last but not least is potable water. And this raw material will not having possible hazard if using clean water. The metric value show that this is not a significant hazard and not a sensitive raw material. That's all from me. Thank you. Packaging material. First is 1 ounce of clear glass jar. So the potential hazard here is physical hazard. There is possibility that the crack of glass bottle will cause the resulting debris. The rationale for inclusion: improper handling while receiving from glass jar supplier due to inefficient handling. Also, the packaging material can be one of the cross-contamination. Here, the severity and likelihood result that it is significant because the risk ranking is 4. So how we control measure for the significant hazard? The metal detection process specially designed to remove the glass jar fragment. So based on the result, we can conclude this item is sensitive packaging material. Then we move to item number 2 and number 3, which is white metal plastisol lined cap and carton box. These two tables we can see that it is similar and basically the result is the same because these two items there is no possible hazard and it is not a sensitive packaging material. Last but not least, for the packaging material item is shrink wrap. The physical hazard may be the potential hazard here. because maybe an electric shock to the shrink wrap machine due to negligence. So the exclusion is if the worker is not careful with removing the panel from any machine at any time and is unaware if there is damage to the plug or cable. Based on the result of severity and likelihood, we can conclude that it is not a significant hazard. How we control measure by before starting any maintenance operation, switch off the machine, the voltage, and acting on the main switch and pull out the power supply cable from the main. Also, sealing blade cleaning and tunnel roller cleaning. The result here, this item is not a sensitive packaging material.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Muhammad Solehuddin bin Remeli. So today I would like to present about the hazard analysis worksheet for the process step in the sheet 1B table. So we go to first slide. I have put the two table, process step decision tree and severity and likelihood. So you can refer to this table for the making of the hazard analysis worksheet for the process step. So we go to the first process step, that is receiving. We have two potential hazard in this processing, that is biological hazard and physical hazard. Biological hazard is pathogenic bacteria such as Salmonella, Bacillus cereus, Escherichia coli. The rationale for this hazard is unhygienic handling and mixing between fresh and damaged raw material during receiving. From this, raw material can be cross-contamination. The significant hazard is yes, and this processing needed to the needed for the critical control point. The second potential hazard in the receiving is physical hazard, that is existence of the stone or wood. The inclusion hazard came from the farm that mixed with the raw material. The significant hazard is yes. Critical control point is not needed in this step. The second processing is washing. Potential hazard is biological hazard, that is pathogenic bacteria such as Salmonella. The inclusion unclean water supply. The significant hazard is yes, and the critical control point is needed. Yes. The third processing step is cutting. The potential hazard is biological hazard, that is pathogenic bacteria such as Salmonella, Escherichia coli, and Staphylococcus aureus. The equation unhygienic handling may cause cross-contamination. The significant hazard is yes. The critical control point is no. The fourth processing step is blending. Potential hazard is physical hazard, that is foreign object. Inclusion foreign object from machinery or operator may stick to product. The significant hazard is no. The critical control point is no. The seventh step of processing is bottling. There are two potential hazards. The first is biological hazard, that is packaging of product not intact. The rational inclusion is calibration of bottling equipment is not conducted according to the schedules. Lack of monitoring and training. The significant hazard is yes, and the critical control point is yes. Second potential hazard is a physical hazard. Jar fragment and packaging of product is not intact. The rational inclusion rupture of the container jar resulting in the fragment that may cause contamination with food, and lack of monitoring and training. The significant hazard is yes, and the critical control point is no. The eighth processing step is cooling. The potential hazard is pathogenic bacteria such as Staphylococcus aureus. The inclusion is improper of temperature may growth of bacteria. The significant hazard is yes, and the critical control point is yes. Lastly, the storage. The potential hazard is biological hazard, that is pathogenic bacteria such as Staphylococcus aureus, Escherichia coli, and Salmonella. Rational inclusion is product are not stored at design place. Cross contamination from storage box. Calibration of storage equipment is not conducted, and unhygienic of worker. The significant hazard is yes, and the critical control point is yes. That's all from me. Thank you.
HACCP plan summary. The critical control point in boiling process. The critical control point in boiling process that need to be monitored is temperature. It can be done by reading from the boiler temperature gauge. It needs to be monitored for 15 minutes by the production supervisor. The corrective action to manage the CCP is by reboiling the jam. The verification and records will be made by the production supervisor. Second, the critical control point in bottling. The critical control point in bottling process that need to be monitored is the cleaning agent. The bottle will be inspected for every batch by the appointed quality assurance. The corrective action to manage the CCP is by rewashing the bottle with hot water. The verification and records will be made by the appointed quality assurance.